happens in the corner. All right, it says we're live. Hello, Houday. How we doing? 0-2. It's a great time to be alive.
Keep moving,
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Keep
Big
moving
for that.
You are listening and watching live, maybe even recorded tomorrow in your car or truck radio. Click it or ticket. I don't know. To rally around the natty. It's not a great time to be alive. I'm really depressed. I went to bed early. I didn't even watch Monday Night Football. I ate vegetables. I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
You missed 2 one-sided games.
Great.
Yeah.
My phone kept going off because of fantasy, and I was just suffocating myself in my pillow.
I did win one fantasy football game. That's the only plus for me this week.
I'm in 3 leagues. I think I looked at 1, and it's all over. I don't even know.
Right.
I don't even know how it went. It's just been a bad couple days for me. Man.
Yeah, when they lose, it's lights out for me. I'm done.
God.
I don't watch
I am
football
done.
today, and I just get ugh.
Yeah. At home, I do the same thing every game. I drink a beer a quarter, and I drink a beer at halftime. I can't do that at the game. It would cost me a fortune.
Yes, it would.
But at home, I can do that.
Right.
But it didn't work. Twice.
I usually pace around my house a lot during the game.
Oh, my God.
It usually does work, but not lately.
Dad, runs up and down the stairs and hides in closets. And
I sit in the same spot. Like I put my legs in the same position, everything.
Right.
Exactly. I don't know why it doesn't work.
Well, I got
Kim figured it out.
Kim's getting her nails done because she had Bengal nails for the last 2 games. I said, I don't even care if you make them yellow and black. Just change the orange.
You know, this is going to sound dumb, but I'm thinking about it now. It was after the 49er game. It was around Ashley's birthday because my wife's a little bit of a hippie at times. I bought her these little necklaces that have little crystals on them because she likes the whole crystal thing.
Right.
And there was this emerald green crystal she wore. And that was when they went on the run and beat the Chiefs and got to the playoffs and torched through the playoffs. And then she took it off right before the Super Bowl. We're 0-3 without that damn necklace. I don't know where the hell it's at. So,
It's her fault.
Ashley!
Put that on now.
Ashley! Come here.
This is great live.
Hi, Bailey. Are you coming? She said she's not coming. Okay. It's her fault.
I can't believe that,
I
man.
could blame this entire meltdown on the offensive line on my wife.
Hey, did you guys see the graphic about the 3-point games on Twitter today?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, 2 were great.
Was that
3
their
not
last,
so much.
Is that their last 5 games? The 3-pointers?
Excluding the Cleveland game that they didn't really try.
Right. Well, no, we didn't count that one.
The last 5 games that they've attempted to win have all been 3-point games. Yes.
Well, if you guys look at the start of the season last year, really wasn't that much of a difference. We were 1-1, but it was literally we were playing the exact same way how we started out last year. Then it wasn't till in the middle of the season we just started taking off, being explosive and all that. We literally started playing conservative the same time last year, so it's really not that much of a difference. We just happened to be unlucky with Clark Harris. If Clark Harris did not get hurt, we would have won that game.
Yes,
I know.
100%.
Well, and someone brought this up, I think, on Ice and Dale's little crossover they did today. Because we lost against the Bears, which is very similar to the game we just lost against the Steelers, right? Just first half meltdown, roaring comeback, couldn't quite finish it off. Call it what it is. Then the first week, we were going to lose that game until Dalvin Cook decided to shit the bed and fumble right at midfield with no time left.
Or it was going to be a tie or something, I think.
Right. There was we had no business winning that game at that moment that he fumbled.
Yep.
The Bengals should have been 0-2 last year.
Yes, we should have.
Can we pump the brakes on the panicking right now? This is very, very similar to where it was last year.
Right.
The offensive line's a little bit worse just because of some continuity issues.
Right.
But there's tape on the Bengals now. We know they like to go deep. We know they like to run a 9-8-9. It's a harder schedule. It's all the things that we knew were going to happen.
What the hell's a 9-8-9?
9-8-9 is a route concept. It's a 9, an 8, and a 9. And 8 is the post. 9s are deep routes.
Yeah, the players have to have that number on their jersey. one of them in order to be able to run that route.
It's a passing.
That's not it.
So we have Burrow and Brandon Allen out there running routes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Santori. I'm just messing.
Oh my God, it's a go, a post, and a go. Just leave it at that.
There are two significant differences between this year and last year. Expectation for the team in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Expectation of an offensive line.
Yes.
We had neither one of those last year.
No, we did not.
And that's where the difference is. Because we would not be – if this was last year,
You'd be
we
going,
would have played
we look kind of close.
Almost beat them in overtime.
Right.
And then if we had just come off of this game,
Yes.
we'd be thinking things are looking up.
Yes.
Things are looking up. But the whole paradigm shift of expectation, and this is where we're at now.
One Bengal host even said last year, just have fun. Like, we have no expectations. This was supposed to be just a fun season to see how they could do. But like you said, Bengal Dad, we had a lot of expectations this year, right? Completely. Last year it was just go have fun, do what you can do. And it's like, oh my gosh, we made it to the Super Bowl. Nobody thought this was coming. So That's why everybody was all, easy going last year. Now everybody's like all focused now. It's like, you everybody's watching, the whole world is watching you now.
You said it there too. The having fun part. You look at the picture of the three wide receivers on the bench from the game.
Yes.
They looked out of it.
They looked
spaced out. They're not having fun right now.
No.
I know that's kind of a silly thing to say. I think Dale said that earlier on their show. And it is kind of silly to say, but they got to get back to fun. Fun ball. Take some shots. Let's go.
Exactly.
Not like fireball shots. I mean, like shots down the field. Let's do that. Maybe fireball shots. Maybe that'll work.
Works. I don't care.
Well, I mean, what was it? Marshawn Lynch used to take 2 shots of Hennessy before every game.
Yeah, and then eat Skittles during.
Yeah, I mean, fuck the diet. Let's just go out there and Ocho versus science, right? Just eat McDonald's all day.
Yeah. Who was it that ate the hot dog during the game? Was that Sanchez?
Was that
Mark Sanchez?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Sitting on the sideline eating this. Jesus Christ. No, there's just I think people need to pump the brakes and understand that they're very close. And I said this on the last show. I don't know. I know Dad doesn't, but I spend a lot of time watching the All 22 film that comes out. It's like 48 hours after the game.
Mm-hmm.
I watched each offensive play about 10 times today. So I guess you could say I watched the offense. I guess you could say I watched the game 10 times today.
Yeah.
I went frame by frame for each offensive lineman, every play for the whole game. Watched every single one of them 10 times, just about. I wanted to just make sure I saw what I was looking at. Volson was fine. The PFF grade, probably a little high for my liking, but he was still rock solid. Karras was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Kappa was more than okay. Collins was an absolute disaster. And it was more or less he was waiting for Parsons to do his speed move around the outside, and he would do that little Euro step where he plants his left foot in the ground, darts underneath, and he's smoked on the inside. Happened to Bobby Hart all the time, having spinning like a turnstile. Williams was highly inconsistent on the outside. The issue, and this is what Burrow likes to do. Burrow either likes to step up and over, like Roethlisberger did for 400 years, and it pissed us off, or he likes to pirouette. Okay? Right. When you've got pressure from the end coming underneath, you can't step up. When you've got it coming from both sides, you can't pirouette because you can't afford to run into the other guy. So he starts doing like Dad, you said during the game, it looked like he's trying to navigate a maze. When you have to do that, that's when you get into the Andy Dalton school of taking your eyes off the receivers downfield. That's when things start to speed up and you have to just know where your progressions are, or you just take off and run. That's what's going on right now. You are one offensive lineman away, naming Lee Collins on the right side, away from being just absolutely fine. Truly, that's what it is.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the stuff has been coming from the outside, like you just said. You know, the interior has not really been an issue. I'm sure there's been a sack or two that have come from the inside, but I mean, it seems like the bulk of them are coming from the outside.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of the sacks that are coming from the inside are because Burrow is having to step up. The one thing that the one thing that I was told by somebody, and I went back and watched for it in film today, was that some of the interior guys are their drop steps are a little bit too deep too early, and they're ending up in Burrow's lap. That is 100% true.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I saw somebody who was engaged and doing fine or didn't even have somebody, and they're just kind of looking for work, but they kept drifting back, and now Burrow's like, dude, you're up in my shit, but you're not even blocking anybody. It's just you're causing skittishness that doesn't need to be there. And then Burrow compounds it with every once in a while, and there were a couple plays where he had a clean pocket where it looked like someone was flashing and they got picked up, and he said, fuck it, and bailed. Even though it still ended up being a clean pocket. He doesn't trust what's going on in front of him right now. And I don't think he would say he trusts it just fine because we know the way he is. He doesn't trust it. Maybe deep down he might trust it, but subconsciously he's not. But
is last year, the tackles actually, Riley Reef and Jonah actually did really well last year. It was the interior we had an issue with last year. Now this year, Ted Karras, I think PFF has been grading him very well. Cap has been doing okay. You know, like you say, Bolson's improving. It seems like it's Jonah and Leo Collins. Look, I don't mean to call Jonah out or anything, but Jonah's on his contract year. My question to you guys is, and I've asked this on Strawberry Show, do you guys trust Is Jonah Williams a starring left tackle? Does he have the ability to be a legit left tackle? That's my question. I'm not trying to come at him. I'm just asking you guys.
Jonah Williams is the Andy Dalton of left tackles.
I certainly would not invest big money in him. There's no way I'd put big money in him.
He's someone I definitely want on the roster.
Right.
Because there's just a severe lack of talent at offensive line around the league.
Oh, yeah.
There are definitely improvements. So, I mean, he's kind of – I know I kind of said it tongue-in-cheek. If there's a Dalton line at quarterback, there's a Williams line at left tackle.
Yeah.
If your guy's better than Jonah Williams, we're great. If he's worse, you got a problem.
Yeah.
But Jonah's kind of been like this during his career, and he'll go through stretches where he plays fine. He's very much a rhythm player. And like I said on Blind Tiger, Jonah Williams has never had the fortune of having a solid, stable left guard next to him at any point in his career, with the exception of last year for about 10 games. And that left side was okay last year. We saw it. Once they gelled, there was continuity. We're adding another moving piece over there with what we thought was going to be Carmen and is now Volson. Yep. Give him a couple games. We know he'll be okay at some point.
Yes.
But you can expect bad games from him. I mean, it is just he's okay.
Yeah.
Collins didn't get to play in training camp. He's got a bad back. Okay, he was nursing that. Now there's some stuff out there that he probably has a bad ankle because he had an ankle brace on that whole game. Just read that today. That very well could be the case. He's always been a guy that's hurt. But if you're nursing a bad back and a bad ankle and you're not in training camp, there's a damn good chance that you're not in shape, and that's not necessarily his fault.
Yeah.
If the Bengals are telling him to just dial it back and just get healthy because we've invested all this money in you,
right?
He's probably 4 or 5 games away from being in normal shape, and that's if all the injuries allow him to do what he needs to do. You're probably still 3 games away from this offensive line operating like we hoped it would start out operating. So people just need to be patient.
Yeah.
But once that happens, if you keep these pieces moving forward, the next year is not going to be a problem. The year after that's not going to be a problem. The second half of this year shouldn't be a problem. What's going to be a problem is if they keep stumbling and end up the midway point of this year and end up being 2-5, and you're kind of going, this might be a lost year now. That's when it starts to hurt. So they've got to do something to either start correcting the issue or giving those guys help on the edge.
Yeah.
Well, I think it starts with giving them help.
That's the easiest thing to do. And they did do that kind of in the second half. I mean, there were a lot of times where Collins was not the furthest outside guy on an island. I mean, there was a clip that I retweeted. I forget who posted it, and I'm sorry, I always forget who posted it, but I retweeted it. It's out there, where they had an overload set, and it was on the 2-point conversion to Boyd, Do you know who was one-on-one with Parsons? And this, if you'd have told me they were going to do this, I'd have shot you in the face and said, absolutely not.
I saw it.
It was P. Ryan.
P.
Ryan was lined up as a tight end and fucking stonewalled the guy.
He blocked him.
Like he wasn't anywhere close. So
he's always been a good blocker.
No, he's been a good blocker. P. Ryan has. But I want to go to Chris Evans. This takes to Chris Evans. Chris Evans. I mean, the way we're getting rid of the ball quickly, Chris Evans needs to get involved more. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry.
What is it, Santori?
You okay over there?
It's the Chris Evans thing. Dad, what's your favorite thing to say about Chris Evans?
That's going to be his football card.
Touchback.
That's all I see him do.
That's his yearly highlights. Stick your arms out.
That's true.
I'm sorry. This took me to Chris Evans. I'm sorry. I just don't understand. We're getting rid of the ball fast. He'd be a great guy in the backfield against some linebacker. I just don't understand why he's not involved. I'm okay with P. Ryan being in at times, but Chris Evans needs to get involved more.
I would trust Chris Evans one-on-one in the open field much more than Mixon.
The only thing I can
Did you see
of,
the stat on Mixon? That
yeah.
I guess he's had 46 attempts of one-on-one, and 43 times he's been tackled.
He's not making anyone miss.
No, I mean that was his forte.
Yeah, so you're not making anyone miss. It's not looking good when I got to pay everybody else, and your contract's very cuttable here in the next 18 months.
Yeah,
look out for that. I got shredded for saying that in the middle of last year, but I always look 2 years ahead on contracts, and it was him and Boyd were the glaring ones where I'm like, ooh, you might get the axe if they're running a little close. But it's a lot of just small continuity errors, and it's not just the offensive line. And I showed you guys these two still shots, but I'm gonna put them up here now, and forgive me that these are a little fuzzy or the lighting's not great, but it's what I got. I'm not a huge IT guy, but there was a play, I think it was in the second quarter. There was a counter toss to Mixon where they were backed up at about the 10-yard line. Mixon got the toss, takes a jab step to the right, cuts back to the left. That's the way it's supposed to be designed and blocked up. A guy came free, and they blew him up for like a 4-yard loss. Okay? There's the still shot.
Mm-hmm.
You got a hat on a hat, and I know I've cropped everything else out here, but there was a safety camping right here, and you've got Hayden Hurst coming on a hide block or a wham or a pull or a sniffer or however you want to fucking say it. There's a million words for it, where he comes off he's off the line and comes across the back of the formation. It's the same shit that Kayvon Thibodeau got hurt on, and everybody said that we were being super dirty. All he's got to do is clip this guy. And what he ends up doing on the film, and I'll see if I can pull that up in a minute, is he just carries on down this is the 8-yard line, and it looks like he's going to try and engage the corner or the safety and lets 54 run free. And he smokes Mixon in the backfield. That's his guy. That's his guy 100% of the time. And I know we always say, well, you don't know what goes on with the blocking assignments. That's a simple cutback play. Everybody's got it in their playbook all the way down from second grade up through the pros. That is his guy. I can say that with 1,000,000,000% confidence. Hayden Hurst makes that block. It's a 20-yard run. Instead, everybody screams and loses their mind and go, oh, my God, Zach Taylor's terrible. Why would you do that? It wasn't Zach's fault. If that play pops, everybody thinks Zach Taylor's a god.
Right.
So it's little things like that. And I brought it up on the Blind Tiger show. Was everybody wanting to fire Zach Taylor after an 18-play, 10-minute touchdown, 2-point conversion, game-tying drive in Dallas? No, everybody was elated. We were jumping up and down going, oh, my God, we're back in it. We're tied. I can't believe we're in this position. Look at the adjustments they made. The line's blocking. Burrow's good. They're catching passes. They're running the ball. The defense shut them down. Everybody's good to go. A deflected fluke pass in the middle of overtime later to put him in field goal range, and everybody wants to fire Zach Taylor again.
I blame Brandon Wilson.
Yeah.
His hands Wilson this way, not this way.
Yeah, Logan Wilson, not Brandon Wilson.
Logan Wilson, I'm sorry.
Didn't Zach Taylor say his headset went out on that third down call with Tyler Boyd? Yeah, I heard something about that.
So here, let me pull something up for you, and this is going to really hurt your soul. Dad, I know you hate these, but just you guys keep talking while I pull this up. It's on that last play.
I'm going to say this while you're pulling this stuff up. Every year that I've watched the Bengals, when I start to hear people go, they were this close on this play, and this guy missed a block. Those were all losing seasons. I really don't want this to be the narrative that continues moving forward. This reminds me so much of the Sam Weish Bengals. They had this great play drawn up, and it was wide open. If you guys could just seen the angle from behind the end zone, he was running free. I always hear that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
All right, I've got it here. I'm gonna break your heart for a second.
Oh, here we go.
What are you going to do to me here?
We're gonna watch a little film for a second.
He's pulling up the Super Bowl. Thanks.
No, we're not. Look, it's eerily similar. Not to hurt yourself here. Let's see. Can we all see this? I know it's kind of probably dark.
Yeah, that's good.
So this is the play where they threw to Boyd in the flat where the headset went out.
Okay, yeah. Here we go.
Okay. Who's wide open down the field for an 80-yard touchdown? Him, Chase, right there. Yeah.
Woo!
Oh my gosh!
And Burrow had time.
Well, Burrow right away. That's all he was doing. That was his throw.
I know, but
there was no checking anyway.
Watch this safety here. This will kill you. He comes down in the box. No one's covering him. That's Jamar Chase.
That's a touchdown.
That'd have been 90 yards.
Sam Weish, here we go.
Just one of those little things that I got to watch for 10 minutes today that drove me insane.
Oh, my gosh.
It's those things where people
I'll
always
make you feel better. Chase would have dropped it.
No. No, don't say no. And I had to deal with that with a lot of people last year. I couldn't stand hearing that. Oh. Santori, why do you do this, man?
I got a whole notebook full of notes just for today. I'm watching them.
That's enough.
Greg's putting the kibosh on it.
Just no more, please.
You don't want to see all the deep balls they tried that they couldn't get off where Jamar was one-on-one? Because there were about 7 or 8 of those. For all the people that say that Jamar, they don't try to push the ball downfield, that's a bunch of bullshit too. Oh,
I'm going to believe you.
We know it just all comes down to the offensive line. I mean, there's nothing else. 4th
drive of the game, it was 3rd and 9. Kappa got beat on a stunt inside. It flushed Burrow, and T. Higgins was wide open at the 50-yard line. It was a 25-yard dig route. I got probably 10 pages of notes just from this game. And every single one of them end with the same thing. Only one guy got beat on the line, and it caused Burrow to move. It was one guy every damn time. There was one drive
I'd take 80% in school.
In a row. One drive, they tried 3 shot plays in a row, and he couldn't get any of them off. So when you see people saying, oh, they're not trying to push the ball downfield, they're trying. It's not working. Oh, my God, why do they keep running? Every time they run, they've been checked into it, and they call 2 plays at the line. So if you don't like the amount that they're running, that's not Zach. It's our golden boy that we need to question a little bit here and there. He's a little skittish right now. It's okay to say it. You're not going to break anybody's heart. But when your line is as shaky as it is, it speeds things up, makes guys flush the pocket when they don't want to leave. This is the byproduct that everybody thought we were going to get last year, and then it never happened. So everybody said Burrow was this unfazable guy. Well, he's phased right now. It's okay to
You know where Burrow is right now? He's where Mahomes was last year at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yes.
They had a new offensive line. Just fine. It was caving in on them. We just need to flip the script as Kansas City did.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, we've already done what Kansas City failed to do, which was fix the line a year ahead of time. Because Kansas City, a year and a half ago, when they were doing all that, it took them till the offseason to fix it. Well, we've already done that step. It just takes a minute to gel. Kansas City, like you said, it didn't click for them right away. Go back and watch Kansas City's first 4 games last year. Tell me how great their offensive line was after they spent all that money in draft picks. Wasn't great.
Joe Tooney, I think one of our guards was great now, better than he was at one point of the season. Joe Tooney, remember how everybody wanted Joe Tooney around? And I was probably one of those. But Joe Tooney, man, has he really been doing that well ever since? Or
he's doing okay. I mean, okay. He's a top 3rd guard in the league.
Oh, okay.
He starts for probably 10 teams. 10 or 12 teams in the top half of the league. I mean, he'd probably start on our team for sure, but
no, I wanted Joe Tooney, but you think about it, you look how we spent this offseason, man. I mean, we spent good value on 3 linemen. So, I mean, I'll give the credit to that right there. But, I mean, are they even going to sign or what's his name, Orlando Brown? Isn't he wanting, like, how much is he wanting a year right now? Or
really, I wouldn't touch any of that shit, man. Just
the one guy on Twitter already says, go get Orlando Brown right now this offseason. I mean, like, come on.
First off, here's the deal. And we can get into a long money discussion because I follow the salary cap and cash spending closer than a lot of people do.
Right. Okay.
Andre Perota's got my number on it, but I learn a lot of things from him. They're not going to spend a whole lot of money outside of Burrow, Chase, and Higgins this year. So if you need something to upgrade, it's going to be via trade or draft, or it's going to be a bargain guy.
Absolutely.
So the idea that they're going to go out and spend money on anything outside of their own over the next probably 2 years with their cash reserve is ridiculous. So we'll just nip that in the butt right now. Expect quiet free agency classes over the next 2 years.
I'm expecting that.
I mean, you got, hundreds of millions of dollars in cash that are about to go out the bank. If they didn't need that money, it would still be Paul Brown Stadium. Let's just think about everything they've done over the last 6 months.
Exactly.
But the big thing is people need to calm down and relax. You are seeing a byproduct of not everybody getting to play in preseason, which I still stand by that decision, even though it's been this ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the deal. If Kappa gets hurt, you have Carmen out there, and it's a million times worse.
Yes.
I mean, I know it probably can't get much worse than it is right now, but I would rather, if it's going to be bad, I'd rather it be with guys growing and learning as opposed to just throwing shit show after shit show out there and having a revolving door of crap. So, hold on. My dog's going to try and drink out of the toilet. Jesus. Bailey. Yeah, go away. She sneaks in the bathroom. It's not a good thing. Yeah, toilet drinker. Oh, my God. But no, people just need to calm down. And, like, Dad, you were talking earlier. You had concerns with Mixon hitting holes. You want to talk about it?
Oh, he hasn't hit a hole in his whole career, has he? He's always slow. He's always slow to the hole. They're always slow developing plays with Mixon. It always amazed me, and I know it's the calls that they have, but Giovanni Bernard hit the hole like that. He was in and out and gone. And Mixon, I think he's trying to be Le'Veon Bell. I think he's been trying to do that for years. It doesn't work with an offensive line that can't hold a block. When it's there, you got to hit the crease and go. And again, some of that's the play calling because he can't hit the hole if you're pitching it backward to him.
Well, the other part of it is, and this is 100% true with running backs as it is with quarterbacks, they have a feel for the offensive line. And if the offensive line is in shambles, they got to be a lot more patient because they don't know where that hole might not be where it's supposed to be.
Hey, let me talk about play calling for a minute because I don't think Zach Taylor's doing a bad job at all because I know he's got his hands tied. The offensive line is just crippling everything they want to do. But for God's sakes, when they get into 2nd and 2, that's a free freaking play. I don't care if they're blitzing 15 people at Burrow. Take a shot. You got nothing to lose. Take a shot. Don't hand it off up the middle to Mixon to get a yard. And then what does Santori say to me as it happens? Hey, this looks like the Super Bowl. That was a great thing to say at that moment. I about puked in my lap.
Oh, Debbie Downer.
But 2nd and 2, they've got to take advantage of those situations. They really do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, a lot of it is, do you feel comfortable to try?
I don't care if you're comfortable or not.
They're probably just not comfortable.
That's the call, Joe. Yeah. This is what we're doing.
I'll say another thing. Cooper Rush, we had Cooper Rush blitz that 1 4th down play and that one other 3rd down play. We were in his face completely. I don't know how he managed to get the ball out with that being tipped at times. And the time it did get tipped, it fell into that one guy's hands. But Cooper Rush made some nice throws.
He did in the first quarter.
In the first quarter, yes.
That was really all he did was the first quarter. It seemed like we could have picked off 5 passes in that game.
Easily.
I mean, in that late third quarter and all that fourth quarter, he was rattled. He was true. I mean, I don't know where he was throwing the ball half the time.
I think Mike Hilton missed 2.
Yeah.
Hubbard had one.
Yeah.
Hubbard was a pick six.
Here's the thing. They dropped 2 pick sixes in the fourth quarter.
I know they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yep.
The difference between winning teams and losing teams is making plays. We're not making plays. We're not making blocks. We're missing assignments. They got to get their head out of their ass. I don't know.
1 turnover in 2 games.
What do you guys think about Jesse Bates right now? I mean, that one touchdown that was thrown, he looked like he was lost. I mean, Jesse Bates is known for tracking the ball, and that one touchdown, he's just standing there when that guy's running right past him. I mean, what is going on with Jesse Bates right now?
He's probably playing not to get hurt.
I think I'll quote Santori from I think it was Iceman and Dale earlier today. I think he said hot garbage.
Yeah, he's playing like hot garbage. He looks very, very hesitant. Yeah. I don't know if it's because he doesn't want to get hurt, if it's a contract thing, if he's not sure about himself.
We've already seen this. We know that
here's the thing. This is something that Bengal Dad and I debated the entire offseason. If he comes out this season, which he has, and plays like he did at the beginning of last year, that tells me right now I want no part of re-signing him.
Nope.
Because he's in his own head.
Yeah.
He's too damn athletic and too good of a scheme with too good of defensive back coaches to be playing that poorly.
Yeah.
It's him. It's time. Like, it's 2 games, and I'm going to try not to sound like a hypocrite here to where I'm saying, it's 2 games, we need to calm down.
No, I understand.
But this isn't just a 2-game problem. We've seen this in years past.
You know who he reminds
so
me of?
much like this.
You know who he reminds me of a player in their contract year and they lay an egg? Baker Mayfield. This is what he reminds me of. Because Baker hasn't been the same ever since he passed on that contract at the beginning of last year.
Here's the deal. Would you be happy if you were paying Jesse Bates $17.5 million right now?
Absolutely not.
No.
I'd be happier if Dax Hill was out there right now because at least he has energy.
Give him a chance right now. He dominated in the preseason. I know it's the preseason, but he dominated. Why not?
Well,
8 snaps.
8,
2 games.
8.
I said earlier you gotta file the missing persons report because Dax Hill is MIA.
Well, here's the deal, and they said this really, really well on the Blind Tiger show. I've got about 20 missing person reports I can file on defense. Akeem Davis-Gaither has not been getting a whole lot of snaps. Dax Hill has not been getting a whole lot of snaps. Okay? Cam Sample, not a whole lot of snaps. Gunter, not a whole lot of snaps. The other guy we drafted that I can't ever – there's 2 of them. The 2 defensive linemen we drafted.
He's from Florida?
Yeah. Carter.
Yeah,
he's
Carter.
not getting any snaps. There's not a whole lot of rotation going on right now. It's like the same 11 guys out there, and here's the deal.
They're getting tired.
They're getting fucking tired.
Yeah. And it's not that the defense is playing poorly, but they're not getting turnovers.
No.
So
this team desperately needs some turnovers.
We need to have this conversation, too, because everybody acts like this is the greatest defense they've ever seen. This is an average defense.
Yet.
They've played 2 backup quarterbacks for teams that just like to run the ball up the middle.
Yeah.
Bengal Dad against Trubisky.
And they're giving up 20 points a game. So we need to pump the brakes on that.
Well, here's the other thing that I think is going to happen. Let's say they do something, they have an anomaly on Sunday and they actually get a lead. Haven't had one of those yet. If you get a lead, the other team all of a sudden isn't going to be conservative. No. These teams have been getting up by 2 touchdowns, and they're going into a Marvin Lewis conservative offense. That's why we're not giving up any points in the second half. But you notice what happens when we tie the game up? Oh, the other team is seriously can go right down the field and get into field goal range.
Well, that's another reason, though. To that point, it's another reason why you're not getting as many turnover opportunities because teams are highly conservative right now.
Yeah.
If you get a 10-point lead on somebody and they got to start letting it rip.
When we do get the ball in our hands, we can't catch it.
But Bengal Dad against the Steelers, did you once see Trubisky get pressured? Because I sure did. Not once.
You know how many times he's been sacked this year?
How many?
None.
And I'll say this because I was one of the people freaking pumping the narrative. I thought their line was going to be atrocious.
Yeah.
It's solid as Sears right now.
They figure out how to do it.
13-1.
They had to face Hendrickson. Hendrickson's supposed to be all world. and he didn't sniff Trubisky. He did in the end zone. He did in the end zone on that night, almost safety. I think that was him.
But was that Hubbard? I thought that was Hubbard.
Was
I
that
could
Hubbard?
be wrong on that though.
Maybe that was Hubbard.
Regardless,
I could be wrong on that.
But yeah, the Steelers have figured out a way to scheme away from a bad offensive line.
All right, look at the Lions.
Or they've coached up guys that were supposed to be bad. One of the two. It's working.
Look at the Lions with 2 backup guards going up against a great Washington defensive line, and they managed through the entire game. I don't think they gave up 1 sack the entire game because they schemed it right. With two backup guards with the Lions. I remember them talking about that. I mean,
there can't be there has to be just a few ways you can scheme an offensive line, right? There can't be. It's not a Rubik's cube. I mean, you have to be able to do it. Why can't we do it? What is Frank Pollock doing? That's what I want to know. I've heard how great this guy's supposed to be. Let me see something.
Exactly.
Let me see something.
Because last year was an exception because he just got there. He didn't have a lot to work with. Well, now he's got the talent around him. And this is where, okay, you got the talent now. Now let's see what you can do.
Right.
It's one of those things that we say with quarterbacks a lot of, okay, we got you your wide receiver, your line, and your running back. There's no excuses anymore. I've got you 5 starters that, Jonah's played at a starting level. Volson's playing at a good level now. We know what Karras and Kappa have done in the past and what they are doing. And that's your boy over at right tackle that you had us bring in from Dallas. We got you your guys. I'm giving you time. I'm going to give you benefit of the doubt for about a third to half of the season. But if we come around week 6, week 7, and they're still, fucking hot garbage, we need to have a serious conversation with Frank.
Put up or shut up time.
I hate to say that, but something's got to give.
Well, here's the thing. This is a results-driven league, and we're not getting them.
Right.
As far as Collins is concerned, if he does have a bad back and he's got a bad ankle, don't play him.
Yeah.
If you can't get the job done, I don't care if you're Babe Ruth. If you're hurt, you're worthless. Put somebody in there that might be able to block somebody. And I know you said he's great on the run blocking. We don't run the ball. When we get great run blocking, Mixon averages 3.5 yards a carry. What's that, a step and a half? I mean, it's nothing.
No, it's not much.
Mixon is as effective as Najee Harris, and you know how I feel about Najee Harris.
Well, the thing is, and I preach this a lot too, the run game, and this is one of those metrics that a lot of coaches probably don't like, but I'm going to say I'm a little new age and I like it, is EPA, which is that estimated points added per play, whatever. It's basically how many points are you adding to the scoreboard per play. And with run plays, and with all plays, right? Because if you run 65 to 70 plays and you're scoring 25 points, it's already a fraction of a number just by default, right? So a pass play, if you have 40 pass plays and you're scoring 20 points, do the math. It's a fraction. It's about half a point or whatever. But if you're looking at run plays and you're running 25 run plays and you're scoring 20 points and you're running 65 total plays, you're at a fraction of a point per run. And that's if you're really, really good. Most teams have a negative EPA every time they hand the ball off because it kills clock and it doesn't go very far. So, I mean, analytically speaking, every time you hand the ball off, you're closer to losing. And that's if you're good at running the ball. The only teams that have positive EPA are teams like the Titans, where Derrick Henry is just a beast. And I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen one of those type of teams win the Super Bowl in a hot minute. So running the ball to me should just be like a change up in baseball. It should just be, a little bit of keeping the defense honest, helping you set up play actions. It should not be something your offense is built around. So if your saving grace is that you're a good run blocking offensive lineman, great. That's like saying that Drew Sample's a good run blocking tight end. That's not what I'm paying you for. That's not what's going to score points in this league. We're about lighting up the scoreboard, not draining clock.
Mm-hmm.
I swear it seems like a wasted play every time they hand it off.
Absolutely.
There's only 2 running plays that work for the Bengals. When they bring in that 7-man offensive line, that worked.
Mm-hmm.
And when Burrow
about
scrambles.
5 yards to carry on that.
Yeah. And when Burrow scrambles.
Yes.
That's the only time it works. And I don't want that happening.
He's had, 80 yards or so in the first 2 games?
Well, he's probably got that and almost 3 concussions because he's getting throttled in the head every time he runs.
Because I think he had 49 in the first game, if I'm not mistaken. 48, 49.
Yeah.
Here's a stat that's going to make you fall in love. This is either going to hurt your soul or it's going to – or Dad's going to love it because he hates the other guy.
Oh, boy.
Who do I hate?
Najee Harris.
Oh, he's terrible.
Yeah, I never –
I'm glad he's a Steeler.
Burrow has more sack yards than Najee Harris has rushing yards this season. Burrow's gone further backward than Harris has forward. I don't –
It's such a good but horrible stat. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, you got to feel terrible as a running back, really. Like, really, for the amount of touches you get, like, man.
No. Bengal
Leave it to One Chip Challenge Santori to bring that up.
Yeah.
I've got a ton of great ones. I can make your day awful. All I do is read numbers all day.
Just stop.
Please.
Keep your misery.
What's the next topic? Damn it.
Speaking of One Chip Challenge, if you haven't had a chance after this show, because we don't want to lose you as a viewer, on the Blind Tiger show, Bengals captain did the One Chip Challenge today.
I saw that.
And
I missed it.
I didn't get to see the beginning of it, so I don't know if he coughed or hacked or anything like I did.
I saw the whole.
But the remaining 30 minutes were very similar to me, where you're just kind of like, not wanting to move. What
do you do, Greg?
No, you know what, man? He didn't freak out or anything, but buddy, his face looked like it was
pale
or something. Like he was just quiet for like the rest of the time, man. He was like eating ice cream, like drinking milk, I think. But he didn't like freak out, but you could just tell it was just like he was getting tortured and all that.
There was like a 15-minute period where he didn't talk.
I'm not doing it ever. I am not doing it. You'd have to pay me $1 million to do it.
It hurts, man.
No, Cap looked like he was quiet for quite some time, but he did say, "Oh my God!" I'm sorry, Santori. It wasn't like you, but you could tell he was suffering. I mean, like I'm not doing it.
Well, there's 2 different types of pain, right? I yell and scream when I'm in pain to try and like help fight through it.
Right.
But I guarantee you, we were feeling the same thing. We had a different outward reaction.
Oh yeah, you guys.
His entire being shut down. Like. He had the hat on. He was like muted mic. He was just slowly sipping milk. Like you could see sweat dripping off his face.
Oh, dude, he looked like he was white as. I mean, like I'm telling you, man, he looked like he was like, oh my God.
It was bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, and then I was like, because he finally started talking again, and I saw him drinking almond milk. I was like, is that almond milk or regular milk? And he was like, what are you going to tell me? And I was like, well, capsaicin needs lactic acid to go away, which isn't naturally found in almonds. I don't know how much that's going to – and before I could say help you, he cut me off. He's like, it's working. Don't talk to me. Don't tell me this isn't the right thing to do. I was like – I said, just wash your hands before you do anything.
Damn you and your stats, Santori.
Hey, Santori, don't use Dawn soap. You said use something else because it doesn't work.
So Dawn soap it's good like as a degreaser, but capsaicin is really going to get in there. You really want to use something – that's like an enzymatic cleaner, something that's going to have citrus in it to really cut through and burn, like the stuff that's going to get dog and cat urine out. So it's going to dry out your skin, but it's going to get all that crap off there. Last thing you want to do is, go to the bathroom and wipe your ass with capsaicin on your fingertips.
Right.
Woo!
Well, no,
that'll wake you up in the morning. Been there before.
That ate 23 of those chips. I think that's what they were saying. There was a dude on TikTok that ate like 20 of them or something. They were talking about it. I'm like,
it's like a Dorito bag worth.
Yeah, there's no way in hell.
Yeah, but Cap though, like I said, Cap looked like. I mean, his face was literally turning. Just it really does like take a big toll. I couldn't do that.
So here's the deal, and Dad, my friend Daryl. Daryl has a very, very, very high tolerance for spice.
Yeah.
And I have that little vial called Satan's Blood. Dad, you've seen it. It's brutal. It's at Jungle Gyms. It's $19.95. It's on the top shelf. It's maybe 1.5 ounces. It's literally like a little science vial, and it's 850,000 Scoville units. And I put half of that in some dipping butter. We had a seafood boil, and he wanted to dip like his crawdads in it. Because I every week I try to up the ante on what I give him, and every week he says it's not hot enough. And I'm like, dude, I was like, do you give me permission to try and hurt you? And he's like, yeah, I got health insurance. I'm like, let's go. I dumped half of that vial in there. Now, granted, I had 2 drops of it on scrambled eggs one morning, and my arms went cold. Like, I'd never felt that reaction before. But Ashley wanted to take me to the hospital. I put half the vial in his dipping butter, and he was like, this is really good. And I was like, the hell, man? So last week I was like, we're going to Speedway. I'm buying you one of these chips. It's $8.99. I don't care. I'm tired of you not feeling spice. He did it. He looked at me. His eyes kind of got big for a second, and he went, okay. Took a sip of milk, put it down. He's like, I feel it. And that was it. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, that is the hottest thing that this earth has ever put out beyond lava. And your reaction was, I can feel that. That's how I feel when I have, like, a jalapeno popper from Fridays. And it's like, oh, okay, like, there's a little bit of heat back here.
Yeah.
Like, and he was just kind of, cool as a cucumber, whatever. And I'm like, that's 2 million Scoville units in the back of your throat right now.
So, Sam,
I was so mad.
The hottest thing I ever tried was one of those wings at BW3s. It's like the challenge. You have to take it. If you finish,
those are pretty hot.
If you had to compare that to the chip, how bad is it? Not even close.
No,
not even close. Wow.
Not. I've done the triple atomic challenge at Quaker Steak, and that's about half of the strength of one of those potato chips. I've eaten 5 of those atomic. I didn't do triple atomic, but I did atomic. Okay. I ate 5 of those atomic wings at Quaker State. Bottom lip went numb and was drooling on myself. Still didn't even compare.
Not even close. Wow.
Yep. We have a new guest.
Oh,
Lance, a.k.a. Hefty Duck.
How's it
social
going?
Media.
Hefty Duck. That's a new one.
Hefty Duck. So Lance is also part of our Brew Jackets podcast. Yeah. One of the 5 members there. And I wanted to give him a little FaceTime on our podcast tonight for our 1 viewer, just to kind of let him self-promote. For those of you watching, you may notice our new logo in the top corner. And Lance here is the artist behind all of that. So, Lance, if you want to pump your stuff for a minute, I know you're in the middle of one of your own streams. Floor's yours.
Yeah. I mean, as you're streaming for your 1 viewer, I was also streaming for my 1 viewer there as well. Let's pause for a quick minute, but
sorry, Greg, but you got to
so I do logo design, t-shirt design. I do all sorts of different kinds of designs, basically just whatever whatever anyone's interested in my style, which is as you can check out some of my work down below at Hefty Duck. You can check that out at Instagram or on Twitter. Just see some of my style, see what I do and whatnot. But yeah, I really like doing sports related artwork too. I'm much more of a massive hockey fan than anything, and baseball too. But it's just something that like I've always had close to my heart. So doing art with something I enjoy is just really fun to do. And other than that, like we were talking about earlier, I do stream on Twitch. I do an art stream, and then I do video games too later in the evening. But I don't know like any other internet gigs I got going on right now other than that. But yeah, you can find me on the Brew Jackets podcast. It's a really fun podcast. We do once or twice a week. I think we're
it's sporadic. We do it.
Yeah, it is pretty sporadic. Like we may end up with a schedule sometime, maybe.
We may end up with a schedule.
But
yeah, keep an eye out. I'm sure Kevin's going to want to be on there all the time.
If you follow me on Twitter or Brew Jackets on Twitter, you'll always see the alerts for when we do go live. Because there's no guarantee that we're going to upload the footage. So you want to be sure you're there to catch it live.
Right.
So I've got a question for you, Hefty Duck.
Yeah.
I got a question. So that logo that's up in the top corner, how long did that take you to create? What kind of time frame are you looking at there?
I don't know if I should
Don't say
like
like 3 minutes and make Santori feel bad that he couldn't create it.
I'm not going to feel bad because I have zero talent. So if it took him 45 seconds, great. But he sent us like 5 or 6.
Yeah, I'm using a program that I'm very familiar with, one, but then two.
He's setting us up for a low time here. I'm very familiar with what I'm doing here.
Yeah, the original.
I sneezed and there it is.
The original production, I don't know. Like the original idea took me like maybe like a half hour, and then like fine tuning it took me like up to an hour, maybe.
It's pretty quick.
So like I don't really like, so yeah, like my pricing, like I don't know. I don't necessarily want to talk about pricing on air, but like in general, like it's by project. It's not like I don't charge by the hour, because if I did that, I'd be broke as shit. So just had to throw that one out there. But yeah, it probably took me about maybe an hour, and then yeah, I always like doing a couple of revisions, or I always leave it open to revisions too, and because that that'll take a little bit longer time. But and if I am like really swamped, it's not gonna get around to some things. Might take me longer, but yeah, that was really enjoyable to do, and you were really easy with like telling me like what you wanted. I mean, you had like the wording for it, and like you explained what you had wanted, and I added in the the background a little bit more. But
yeah, we really appreciate it.
It looks great.
That's awesome, man.
Awesome. I'm glad
if you're open to some revisions that aren't gonna cost me my entire next paycheck, I do have a couple things we'll throw your way. I know Bengal Dad had a couple suggestions, but we'll put that in the private chat. But for reference, everybody watching, Lance, you said you used to do tattoos, right? So I mean, you've got a pretty extensive art background.
Yeah, I did tattoos professionally for 6 years, apprentice for 2 years before that. Been doing art, really since high school.
So if I get like an ink bottle and like a needle, can we make something happen, or
no? On air?
Yeah. Like a little teardrop.
I'm trying to think. Yeah.
He says,
hold on. Get a thread though too. It helps hold the ink at the end of the needle.
Thread.
Yeah. I don't want to get too into it. I don't want to give anybody.
He's the expert.
Awesome ideas, but
don't try this at home.
I could.
You nod your head and smile, Santori.
It's not something that I always I super enjoy anymore, but I still love creating art, and you can kind of see that in my style. I mean, that's more of a logo than like an art piece I designed. But if you see some of my art on Instagram or Twitter, you'll see that it looks possibly tattooable. That's kind of my style. But
just here's another design in case anybody ever wants this slapped on their left ass cheek somewhere.
You should. Oh, okay. I wasn't quite catching what you were saying to me. I don't know, man. Sorry. I just got done playing Rocket League. My mind was somewhere totally else and whatnot.
No problem. Well, hey,
it kind of took me a bit. I was like, what?
You're welcome to stay on. We're kind of just bitching about the Bengals offensive line right now. I know you're a little bit of a Browns fan. But
a bit. I did watch. I watched the Bengals game this last Sunday though too.
You shouldn't have.
I know, right? I mean, it was a rough day for all Ohio sports.
What happened to the Browns though in those last 80 seconds of the game,
dude?
Do you see the pain in his face?
I legitimately wanted to vomit watching that. Like, not only am I not like their biggest fan this year, but then also just like watching them just absolutely blow it. They were like so far ahead, and I don't even want to get into it. Anymore. Just what people say on the internet is because so much bullshit too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on. I wanted to give you the plug and thank you live for the logo.
Back to my stream then.
And back to your stream, and then we'll see you on Brew Jackets here at
some
point.
We'll see you soon. Y'all gotta join us some Brew Jackets.
We'll bring fun. Bengal Dad on Brew Jackets. He's a wealth of hockey knowledge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That'd be cool.
We will be able to match intensity. Trust me.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for jumping on, Lance.
Peace.
See you, Hefty Duck.
See ya.
Lates is a good guy. We appreciate his logo work. He's a Browns fan, but we can deal with that, you know. So back to our amazing offensive line.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about the picks.
Tori, no more notebook stuff.
Okay, no more notebook stuff. This one's retired.
Okay, I can't take it.
I'll buy a new one for next week, and I'll just mail it to you.
Thanks.
So you were going to ask about what, James?
The picks. How
From
horrible did we do?
Oh, yeah. I haven't even gotten to watch it. I assume it's bad.
I did call the Indianapolis game, but I was wrong on the Ravens, which I'm glad. But I did call the Jaguars.
I'm pretty sure I called the Dolphins to win.
No, you guys all called the Dolphins. I said the Ravens, but I was hoping I was going to be wrong.
Boom! Tua coming in for a game, the NFL record-breaking day, just to knock them off by a penaliter.
Unfortunately, we both called the Cowboys.
Did we?
You did. The spread.
I didn't want to do it, but 8 points.
Yeah.
You can't stop me. That's 2. I don't remember any of the other picks. Even if we flashed them up there, I wouldn't know.
My brother-in-law is a diehard Colts fan, so I haven't talked to him. Well, he hasn't talked to me either, but I just said to myself, the Colts I just don't think are for real. I didn't think they were going to get shut out like that. I thought it was going to be a close game, but I couldn't believe Jacksonville shut them down 23-0.
Well, that's Matt Ryan for you. I mean, he's just freaking cocoon of himself.
Yeah, I mean, they were all years old. Ryan, like, what has he done the last couple of years?
I'm almost 30, and Matt Ryan was drafted when I was 8th grade. It's time. You know, when I can think back to my grade school days for when you were drafted, it's time to go.
Exactly.
What do you say about Tom Brady?
Jesus, the first time I heard his name, because I didn't start watching till 2002. So the first time I heard his name, he had already, I think, won his first Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been 2nd grade, and I'm 30. I always made the joke that I got my master's before the Marvin Lewis could win a playoff game. But you know, it is what it is. But man, no, he's been around forever.
Oh man,
have you seen what he looks like lately, man? He doesn't look good.
No, that's not good. His face is all sunk in.
Yeah,
I was gonna say he looks a little thin.
He genuinely looks sick, and I hope he's okay. That did not. I don't know if he just was sick that day, or if it's bad Botox or what, but it doesn't look good.
Right.
Something happens to these quarterbacks when they reach into their 40s with Aaron Rodgers. What a freaking Looney Tunes weirdo he is now.
Well, hopefully, Tom Brady's got a personal day on Wednesday, so I mean that's
yes, he does. He's got personal days on Wednesday now.
He can
He does.
Building up that PTO.
Yeah.
He's trying to get some at-home time with Giselle to try to make up things, I guess.
Oh my God, couldn't.
I don't know.
Uh-oh, you're being called out, Dad. This is like an hour ago, but you're still being called out.
What? What did I do?
Didn't sing the last 2 shows.
That's the See, Ashley's Crystal, and you're not singing.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
On the ball as always.
Maybe he said he wants ass eaters.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Wow.
Hey, one shout I want to make. How about AJ Green with that big 2-point conversion catch he made for the Cardinals? I mean, I'm happy for AJ Green and all that, you know. But what was this I heard? Did Kyler Murray get punched by a fan at the end?
Yeah, he did.
What happened?
Walking off the field.
How did I miss that?
Yeah.
He stood too close to the fans, and someone just got him.
Well, maybe it was one of his. Maybe it was the Call of Duty guy that got mad at him.
Yes. It was a double XP. You were supposed to win by more.
Oh, I've seen people on video games get mad at people, want to confront them. I've heard of stories about it.
Have you heard about Joe Burrow on video games? Oh my God.
Yeah, there's people that get get mad at each other over video games.
I've got some pretty bad gamer rage. I'll admit it. I've put a couple holes in walls through the years.
Yeah,
but apparently, I heard a story that Joe Burrow was in it's called a lobby when you're doing an online game. He was in a lobby and I guess he lost. I think it was Halo or something. He went berserk on some like 16-year-old kid and just started going off on him, like everything you could think of. And I'm just sitting there like, could you imagine, like, if I was just in my little headset in front of the TV and I'm like, I'm being cussed out by Joe Burrow right now. I don't know.
Dude, I don't know.
Mad or not. Like, do I record? Like, what do I do right now?
What's his gamer tag? Not Joe Burrow? 69?
Not Joe Burrow, 69. Yeah, sure.
But I mean, yeah, it was probably one of my buddies that just got mad at him and saying, you illegally did something wrong, man. Or, I don't know.
I had some kid, and the thing was, this was probably like 7 or 8 years ago. I think I was a junior in high school.
Right.
I was playing Madden, and Madden is to the rules of the NFL. And I got in a situation to where I was really about to lose. So I jumped off sides and stripped the ball and picked it up and just ran the clock out. And It was in the era where a game could end on a defensive penalty, even if you accepted it. And the game ended on me jumping off sides and just running in circles to end out the clock.
Yeah.
He didn't send me like a voice message. It wasn't in the lock. He sent me an email with every nasty word in the book, and then he blocked me.
No.
I was like, I got a ding on my email. It's like email from, and it was like, fuck you. And I was like, what the hell?
It's aggressive.
Trying to send an email. Like,
Santor, you remember when Madden first came out? They could hear your voice and all that, like say call timeout and all that and stuff.
No,
you could call timeouts live. Yeah, you could actually tell the screen call timeout. I was playing a buddy of mine one time. Well, former buddy of mine. It's a long story, but like he was about to win the game because I was out of timeouts and he had his timeouts and he was making fun of me saying, "You have no timeouts left." And the screen heard him say timeout and he called timeout. I scored the touchdown, and to really get in his face, I got the 2-point conversion at 1 point. Oh, he was so. I had everybody tell him, "Why did you call timeout?" Like, I'm like, just go to that guy and say, "Why'd you call timeout?" He was so mad the next day. It was so funny. I don't talk to the guy anymore. He gets a little. It was over fantasy football stuff and other things, but I mean, but I get a little too competitive sometimes. Let's put it that way.
Did you fleece him on a trade?
What's that?
Did you fleece him on a trade? Is that what happened?
Well, no. So him and I were co-commissioners. He did make a trade with someone, and one of the guys pointed out that he made a trade without talking to me about it, and he got so mad at me and all that and stuff. He started crying on the phone because he got mad. He was upset at me
over fantasy football.
Over fantasy football, he got mad over a 19-year-old kid one time, and this guy's in his 50s and all that. And he got mad over. He says, "If he comes on my lawn and all that, we're gonna have it out." Over fantasy football. And I'm like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I mean,
Dad, have you ever played fantasy football?
Over fantasy football.
Have you ever played fantasy football?
No.
Some people
I have no desire.
We've done that DraftKings thing where you like spend it's like $95.
I did do that. Yeah, and I make sure I don't pick a player that's playing the Bengals.
Yeah.
I just can't do it.
No, so Cincy James, in our fantasy football league in Orange Arrows League, when I had all the people are Bengals fans, Mixon and Chase were off the board with the first two.
I know it.
Oh,
I go into that like I understand when you're supposed to take a quarterback or a running back or receiver, and I'm just kind of like, okay, well, I'm around first round pick 9. I'll be looking for a top flight back if it's still there, and it's like Mixon first back off the board. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, I know he's a Bengal, but
it's the Homer draft.
You got freaking Jonathan Taylor right there, and you skipped over him for T. Higgins. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, Tyler Boyd taking 4th. No.
It's like
James, that's
Burrow, Mixon, Chase, Boyd, Higgins, Jonathan Taylor,
McPherson. No, McPherson. He went early.
He took McPherson like the 6th or 7th round. That's what they all.
Yep. Yeah.
My one buddy took Chase with the first pick, and I want to say, why are you doing that, man? I got Jefferson with the 6th pick. I mean, that's how some people are.
I got a fantasy football story. Well, go ahead, Santori.
Well, I was going to say, before we forget, you can tell your fantasy story. Dad, you wanted to pump Strawberry Ice's thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's got a I still don't know how he's pulling this off. I don't know what
I don't know if it's him or his, because he's got like 3 or 4 people he works with.
Okay.
It could be their little fan group. He might have a business partner somewhere. I don't know how it's been pulled off.
Well, this is I guess a converted theater that's in Eastgate. It's now called what? RJ
something. It's
RJ
the old
Cinema
Danbury
and Tap Room. I think is what it's called.
It's the old Danbury for those.
The old Danbury.
Oh, okay.
So for the Bengal game this Sunday against the Jets, they're opening up, I guess, one full theater, and it's going to be a Bengal watch party.
Cool.
So you show up at 1 o'clock.
Food.
Yeah, you show up at 1 o'clock and you buy your beer, your food, whatever. There's no admission fee. There's nothing. It should be a fantastic time if they can fill that theater with Bengal fans.
I'm just imagining like a great play and like popcorn just going all over the place.
I think it's going to be like the Rocky Horror Picture Show, but for the Bengals.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of call to action. Hooray! Everybody's going to be yelling and screaming.
That's going to be a long drive home, though, for me. But yeah.
Somebody in the theater next door trying to watch some sad movie. Yeah, all their hair to the background is, who they going to beat that Bengals?
Right, exactly. I can hear noise complaints coming in a heartbeat.
You got someone in the theater over watching The Notebook and they're sobbing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you hear Cincinnati.
Is this a deleted scene?
Wait, Santori, have you ever seen not Major League 1, you ever seen Major League 2?
Yeah. You have the marbles.
The hospital and all that. He's all ticked off. And he's like watching, because he's not supposed to hear baseball because it's bad for his health. He's in the hospital. And he's like cussing, and it's like British television. He's like, this is tragic stuff right here.
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah, he's got the earpiece in listening to the radio.
Right. He's like cheering the game because they won. Like, calm down. It's just, he's like, I love this stuff. I may move to England.
I remember that.
Well, they're doing some giveaway stuff too there, aren't they?
Yeah,
I haven't heard that. Are they?
Jeff said the first 50 fans get like I guess a pint of the Joe Burrow beer.
Yeah.
They did.
I think they're giving away a flag too, a Jackpot Joey flag.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Greg? Jesus, I called you Jeff.
It opens at 11, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
I think you might want to be down there around 12, just in case.
I'm an early bird, so I might do that just to get a good seat.
I mean, it's not like you can get there too early. I mean, there's Jungle Gyms, there's Highway 55 right next door. There's like the one Steak and Shake still operating in Cincinnati in the parking lot over.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I think it's going to be a good time. Let's just hope this is win number 1.
That's what I'm. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm in isolation sometimes when I'm watching games. Now, if I'm at the game, I don't act all crazy because I'll get thrown out. But sometimes I'm in isolation because I like my family will be like, Greg, come over. Let's watch the game as a family. I'm going to get kicked out of the house. Or like I'll have like some amateur person at the house not knowing a thing about football or trying to ask me questions. I'm like, look, I'm not answering any questions right now. I'm watching the game.
Yeah,
I know that too well.
I think I about put my stepsister's head through a wall on opening day. Not going to say why, but she's got a recent rooting interest in the Bengals.
Right.
And there was some Steeler caught a fade down the sideline. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, that is the other team. Don't know what you're getting excited for. And she's like, well, we're on defense, right? I said, yes. And they have the ball and they're 20 yards downfield. And then something bad would happen. This game's over. It is the second quarter, and I really need you to be quiet right now.
Yes.
I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm learning. I was like, it is yellow against black. This
How
is
hard
not,
is it?
This like it is very different.
Right.
But man, I get it. I try, and I feel so bad. So Cass, if you're watching this, or Kim, if you're watching this, I'm sorry for I blew up on her pretty bad around the third quarter.
Yeah.
I looked at my wife. I was like, I could finish watching this at home. I ain't dealing with this bullshit. And I stood up. And Cass was like, well, I'm going to leave then. And she went to her room.
So. But no, it'd be cool to come and see all you guys. But like I said, that's just how I am. I'm in isolation sometimes. That's just how I have to be.
Well, I guarantee you cannot lose it beyond how I lose it.
Bengal game. Bengal Dad, you don't know me too well, bud. So.
Greg,
sing a song about it, Bengal Dad.
There's no song that I can sing
right.
that would be that. That would be like a Ozzy Osbourne song or something.
Yeah, biting the heads off of bobbleheads.
I've been kicked out of my parents' house for an hour one time. They told me to get out of the house. I mean, they couldn't take it anymore. I was like yelling and when I used to live at home. Yeah, I got.
Okay, here, let me ask you this, and this is embarrassing for me.
All right.
Well, hold on. Let me ask one. I'm not going to get you in any trouble. I'll tell a lighter one. You remember at the Bills game when two fans tried to throw somebody over the side of the stadium?
Oh yeah, I was just telling him about that the other day.
So it was a Bengals Bills game back in like 2007 or something. I was in grade school, and there were two drunk Bills fans, and it looked like they were going to try and throw him over the side of Paul Brown Stadium, kind of toward the practice field.
Right.
And he went over there like a fucking safety shot out of a cannon and about blew him up trying to save this guy's life.
I had a Palomalu moment.
Yeah, dove at the knees, took him down.
Dang.
I have seen this man go into full torpedo mode.
So, what, Greg? What did you do in the 10 minutes after the Bengals lost the Super Bowl?
I was at the Super Bowl for one.
Oh shit! Okay.
So he had to sit there and watch confetti.
So I was with my family members. My mom comes out to me. She says, "You doing okay?" I'm like, "Mom, just not now." They're all going to dinner. I'm sitting by myself in the corner. This guy tries to talk to me, to be friendly. I'm like, "Sir, I'm usually a very nice person. I'm just not in the mood right now." And he understood. But yeah, Bengal Dad, I couldn't really throw a hissy fit or anything. But like, I was just in depressed mode for like 10 or 15 minutes, man. But yeah, you did.
I went upstairs.
Keelan, we had a house full of people too.
Yeah, we had like 23, 24 people at our house. I probably sat in my chair for about 30 seconds. I just made my way upstairs, and I laid on my bathroom floor for at least 10 minutes in the dark.
I
couldn't deal with anything at that moment.
No.
So I stood up as soon as Burrow's pass went incomplete. I didn't, because my thing is I always said I'm never going to watch the confetti fall or listen to We Are the Champions until it's my team.
Yeah.
I always leave before that happens. And I guess that's piss poor. I guess it's a sore loser, whatever. I just want the first time I hear it and see it to be for my guys, just so I can always have that memory.
Right.
Stood outside. We got a fair amount of snow that night. And I had all my, junky, thin Bengal stuff on that's not made to be worn anywhere except in a seat watching a game.
Right.
I've still got the dirt on the snow and salt where it rubbed off on my Bengal shoes where the color's gone. Never got them refurbished. And I opened my car door. All the snow fell into my car. I sat in a pile of snow, closed the door, and just closed my eyes and stared at the roof of my car like this. And I had 5 people in the house that were staying at my apartment at the time, and I left their asses inside, including my wife. And
right.
I had my phone turned off, the radio off. I didn't even turn my car on. It was ice cold. And I just remember just gritting my teeth really, really, really hard. And then my wife called. She's like, "Where are you?" And I said, "I'm going home." And she's like, "Well, you need to take us." I was like, "Get in the car." And I hung up, and I just did this for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And we got home. My friend's like, "You want to talk about it?" I said no. And I went in my bedroom and put my face in my pillow and just did this for like 4 months.
No, that's exactly what my mom put her arm around me saying, "It's okay, my mom, just leave me alone right now. I have to go in the corner. I have to."
I was very, very grateful for what I got to experience.
Oh, me too.
But at the same time, I waited 28 years to see it. Everybody else waited longer. I'm just 28 years old. You never freaking know. And then everybody on the freaking Twitter is like, "Oh, we'll be back next year." I'm like, "You don't fucking know that. It took us 28 years to get back."
My best friend still hasn't recovered from it. He lives in Chicago.
Yeah.
I called him after the game against the Cowboys. I said, "What'd you think of that mess?" And he said to me, "They should have won in February. I'm 58 years old. I'm never going to see it happen." He is already ready to jump off a bridge. He's so depressed.
Bengal Dad, which one was more depressing, this one or the one back in 89?
Oh, 89. 89, definitely. But we lost our sound.
No, we're here.
Oh, now I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, definitely 89. 89, they had the game won.
Right.
And I mean that drive starts with a penalty against the Niners, and they're backed up to the 8-yard line.
Right.
And the Bengals had a pretty darn good defense in 1989. And they just shit the bed. They decided to go prevent that entire drive, and it killed them.
Well, who was that?
It was so weird. This Super Bowl, I'll admit, I was kind of like zoned out at some point.
Right.
I wasn't even thinking, hey, they're almost in field goal range to tie this to go to overtime. All I wanted was a touchdown. That's all I was thinking.
We were, and like I said, I'm young enough to where I'd never seen a playoff win before. So that entire postseason just felt like a fever dream to me. And I remember coming, it sounds weird. I don't remember much of the Super Bowl. I've watched it a handful of times and it still hurts, but I remember coming to sometime in the fourth quarter, and I was sitting in my chair, kind of rocking back and forth, having trouble breathing. I looked over at my dad because I kind of knew at that point I think we were going to lose. I was like, I'm not feeling it. We're not getting time. We can't move the ball. It's collapsing. Dad was sitting about 2 seats over to my left, and I looked at him and I just said, we were this close. And I had already checked it off in my mind. My wife was holding my hand, and she looked at me. She said, I'm sorry. There's still like 4 minutes left on the clock.
Right.
And I'm just done. And I was just like, I that's the only bit of the Super Bowl I actually remember. I remember T. Higgins scoring the touchdown on the weird play where he should have had a PI.
Right.
I remember Logan Wilson getting the tic-tacky penalty.
Yeah.
And I remember Burrow throwing the incompletion where Donald was wrapped around. That's the only 3 plays I can think of that I remember.
Yeah.
It was just such a blur.
When I have a go ahead.
When I over it, that's when Jay Morrison tweeted Chase was wide open in the end. If Burrow had maybe 2 seconds, all he had to do was launch that ball. When Ramsey tripped, Chase would have been there in the end zone to catch it. That's what just hurt me even more.
Mm-hmm.
So you've asked this question quite a few times, Dad, and I don't know if you heard the interview with Burrow. It was about a month and a half ago. They asked him about that play. We all know he checked to it. I mean, that's kind of been common knowledge at this point. But they asked him why he didn't get rid of the ball sooner or why they didn't roll the pocket. Because you always said, why didn't they roll the pocket?
Right.
And he said, well, they were in single high. And basically what that means is if I roll against single high, the safety goes with me. And I wanted to keep it one-on-one. So I had to stand there and keep my eyes to the left of the safety long enough to get him to move. And right when he moved is when the pressure caved in. He said, we were getting ready to pull the trigger. I had to hold him, and I just didn't have quite enough time to get the ball off. So that's why they didn't roll it.
What I would love to ask Burrow on that play is, I know you're a gunslinger, and I know you're all or nothing. You only needed a yard. You still had 40 seconds. Again, you had the field goal, which I wasn't thinking of. I just thought if you're going to do a play like that, you do that on 3rd and 1, not 4th and 1.
Exactly.
I don't agree with just risking the entire season because you've got this Brett Favre mentality about you. That's almost becoming too big for the team.
I don't believe in absolute blanket statements, but I know, and they've talked about it enough to where they've kind of told their offensive philosophy and their rules. Regardless of down and distance or game situation, if we know we had one-on-one with Chase, we take it. And, I mean, that was the theme for the entire year. There were times where they did that earlier in the year where I disagreed with it, but that's what they did. And that's who they were, what they were going to do. They saw the opening, and quite frankly, it was the right play call.
James,
again, it's the right play call. Sometimes it doesn't work.
James, tell us your story about how did you?
Yeah, how were you depressed after that game 6 months ago?
Never heard your story, man. I'm sorry. So,
well, we were at home. It was just me and the family. That was it. And we're watching and get that phantom PI call, and I'm like, they're going to score here.
Yeah,
I know it after that. It was almost an inevitability at that point. That happened. We get the ball. 4th down happens. It's hard to talk about even now, but 4th down happens, and incompletion, and I just sat there. I sat there for a few minutes. Clock went down to 0. I went to my room. I took my jersey off. I got ready for bed, and I laid down. I was done.
There's only been
Just
three times in my entire life. Now, granted, like I said, I'm only 28 here, but that's a lot of football to only have this happen 3 times.
Right.
Where I've just stared at the screen and sat down and not moved. That was one. The other 2 games were against 2015 was one.
And Carson Palmer.
And then Carson.
I was at that game too.
Dad will make fun of me for this one. I was 11 years old when that happened. Well, I wasn't even 11 yet. I was 10 because my birthday was later in January.
19.
I was 10 years old. I remember sitting in the chair in front of the screen. I started crying and I said, I'm not going to root for this team anymore. And I started going online to research teams that were in the AFC but not necessarily a rival. And for whatever reason, I picked the Broncos, and I went out and bought a Broncos football, and Dad was so fucking pissed about it. He was like, you're going to give up on them like that? Really? That's it? And I was like, it hurts. And he was like, well, let me tell you some other things that hurt. That was coming right off the freaking 90s. I had no clue what pain was.
Right.
I was in Greece for that game. And, yeah, I was in Greece. I was in college. It was Greece, not a musical. Talking about the actual country.
You weren't with Olivia and John Travolta.
No. So I was over there and I saw it. All I saw was a TV in a hotel room, and it scrolled on the bottom, and it talked about the game. And that's how I found out about Carson Palmer.
Oh,
dude,
it was heartbreaking reading those words on the bottom.
So when I was at that game, I see a big pass to Chris Henry. I'm cheering. Then I see Palmer down. You heard every cuss word in the book at that stadium. That's when 1-800 Jerk came out. You heard every cuss word in the book.
Huh? Oh, my God.
That I have never in my life heard so many cuss words in my entire life.
So we were sitting downstairs watching, and Carson threw the ball, and I saw him get hit when he threw it. And keep in mind, on TV, it's just following the ball.
Right.
And the ball's in the air. Right when he released it, I said, Carson's down. Dad looked at me, and he was like, what the hell are you talking about? He was all pissed off. He was like, he's hurt. And then they zoomed back over to Carson. We all know what he looked like laying there on the ground.
Yeah. Writhing.
The entire house was dead silent. And we were all kind of like, well, it's 2 plays in, and we're fucked. Like, that's all it is. That's all she wrote. Now, here's the thing, Crypt, and he gives me a lot of shit with Carson because I don't know where he heard it. I guess I went off about Carson on a show one time, and he gives me a lot of shit with Carson. I was probably Carson Palmer's #1 fan.
I was too.
He could do no wrong in my eyes when I was a kid. He was perfect. I can remember we were at my Aunt Denise's house one time. It was probably around 2006. And Dad and I were sitting down on the couch just naming who we thought the top 5 quarterbacks were. And we could not name a list that didn't involve Carson. And it was the first time probably since Boomer that we felt that good about a quarterback. And it was like, this is great. This is awesome. I'd never really been into sports before. Dad was kind of really only into sport. Jesus, shut up. And we had this really good bonding experience over that Carson Palmer era. And that's kind of really where our relationship really built. And I can remember it was probably around 2008 or 2009. Things weren't going great. And I remember looking at my dad and saying, well, as long as we got Carson, we're fine. And I was at my buddy's house the day Palmer said, trade me or I retire.
Oh,
it felt like getting cheated on or just stabbed in the back. And I was like, fuck this guy. I was like, we've done nothing but just adore you for fucking decade. And this is where you're at. And so for, Crypt, when I get really emotional, it's just, I've never got over that. I will never get over players bashing an organization that gave them a chance. Whether they were treated right or wrong. That's why I can't stand Andrew Whitworth right now. Because he's had 3 platforms over the last 6 months. And each time, whether it's been about the Bengals or not, he's taken the shot. And it's like, dude, just shut the fuck up, man. You won. You're in LA. You got the hot wife. You got the money. You got the Super Bowl ring. You left the town that I don't know why you got to keep fucking running your mouth, man.
You look at AJ Green. He simply said, "I'm grateful for the years I've had here. I'm so happy for this team." I mean, he said it perfect. He was grateful for what the Bengals did for him here. AJ Green did.
Well, I mean, look at Chad Johnson. Chad went through all kinds of bullshit here.
Yes.
Oh, he went through the cheap era with Mike Brown and Carson. He went through all that shit. He went through it where they charged for meals and Gatorade.
Right.
He's still the biggest fucking fan.
Absolutely.
There's ways to go. Like, even if you're upset, like, do you understand what you got to do for a living? Do you understand the organization that paid you all this money to have fun? And I cannot stand whether it was the organization's fault or the player's fault or whatever, because there's two sides to every story. When a player badmouths an organization, I just cannot stand it. It's the biggest thing that grinds just up a fucking wall.
I was saying, Tori, I get people that tell me, well, can you blame them for saying that? Because that's where all the haters.
Yes, I can.
I mean, I can't blame them. But like a lot of people say, well, I don't blame them for what they. And that's like where all the fake fans or the people that live by the past come in. And I can't stand that anymore. I just can't stand it. The one thing that annoys me the most is when the Reds have a mediocre season, they get away with it. You hear Bengal did. I don't know if you can speak for this. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm still excited for next year because they live by the past." But if the playoff game, it's like same old Bengals.
Yeah, the Reds always get a pass in this town. I don't understand why, and they're kind of in the same boat the Bengals were in for all these years now. Yeah, they're getting the pass, so there's no reason for the ownership to try to step up and do anything. Not that a lot of fans are showing up. I mean, that's going to take its toll, but they still get the majority of their money from.
Here's where I'll get a lot of hate. Here's where I'll get a lot of hate, and Dad, we've had this conversation numerous times. I don't give a shit what happened in the 70s. I was born in the 90s.
I'm done hearing the stories. Yeah,
I'm glad that that's something that you got to experience as a kid, but it was half a century ago.
Thank you.
Yes, it was.
Let's even 1990, man. I mean, that's going on half a century ago at this point. We're better part of 35 years on that.
I think the one thing
it's a different game.
Remember, I think the one thing you got to remember when all the old guys like me start talking about that, what else is there to ever talk about in this city?
Yes.
No, and I get it.
1962 Bearcat basketball team.
I'm going to remember this conversation 25 years from now when I'm telling my kid about the time the Bengals almost went to the Super Bowl. I guarantee, or went to the Super Bowl. It's going to be a very, very similar feeling. I get it. Yeah. But at the same time, equity runs out, especially for the people that didn't get to experience the equity.
Oh, it absolutely does.
I was born in 94. I didn't pay attention to the Reds probably until 2003.
Right.
You know, my first memories are Adam Dunn and Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
So I have nothing with that franchise.
I get it. Just don't blame the older generation.
I don't blame the older generation. But what I do blame,
that wasn't just a team that won a World Series.
No,
that was the greatest assembled team in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
So, but here's the deal. I don't blame the fans that got to experience it and have that equity. I blame the organization that still rides off of that, like it's still something to hold on to.
It's the brand, and you know what? When Phil Kessler,
there's a place. I'm gonna cut you off, Greg. I'm sorry. There is a place for that equity, and it's right next door in the Hall of Fame. Outside of that, I don't give a flying fuck. And how many times have I bought a ticket to go into the Reds Hall of Fame? Once. I don't care.
Right.
I care about winning. I've always cared about winning.
Thank you.
I don't believe in silver linings. I don't believe in moral victories. I believe in winning. And there was a stat that got put out there the other day about the Castellini ownership.
Oh,
the Reds have had nine seasons since World War II. So going on about 80 years, because this went back to 1942. So this is exactly 80 years.
Yeah.
9 years since World War II that they have had a losing or winning percentage, should call it a losing percentage, a winning percentage of 420 or less. 9. Okay. 8 of those have been under Castellini.
No. 5.
5?
5
in the last 8 years.
Yes. Yeah. 5 of the 9, but it's all
of the worst seasons in the last century. have happened in the last 8 years.
Yeah.
He's the worst owner in baseball. He's the worst owner in the history of the Reds.
Yeah.
He might be one of the worst owners in the history of baseball.
Yeah.
He's a worse owner at this point than Mike Brown.
Yeah.
Mike Brown at least got us to the Super Bowl.
Well, let me ask you something. Phil Castellini, when he said where you're going to go and all that and stuff, like, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, you have all the fans keep coming. The Bengals just came off from the Super Bowl, and you're going to say that? I mean,
where am I going to go? I'm going to go across the street to Paul Brown Stadium.
Well, then what did they do after that? They started bringing the Bengals players in.
Yeah, Bengal Dad, have you ever in your life heard Mike Brown make a comment like that? Ever?
No, Mike Brown doesn't say stupid stuff like that.
Thank you. I'm sorry. That hit me hard. My one buddy who's a Reds fan hates the Bengals. He's like, Greg, why is it that you let the Bengals get away with this, but you're now coming after the Reds? Because the Reds have gotten away with mediocrity for years. This is the one year. It's not the manager, not the players. This is the one year their brand gets come after finally.
Yeah. When people that don't understand what I'm talking about, this is what I tell them. Do you want to know what my greatest moments are? There's two. As a Reds fan,
I know what they are.
One is the Jay Bruce walk-off in 2010, a regular season game.
I think I know the other.
Todd Frazier's home run derby.
Yep.
A game that doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
My two favorite moments since I've been watching for 20 years are a regular season game and a fucking celebrity competition. That's all I've had. I've had them go to the playoffs and shit themselves like 4 times.
Yeah.
2010, they got no hit by the Phillies. That was great. Thanks, guys. 2012 was the collapse against the Giants. Thanks, guys. 2013 was that atrocious wild card game in Pittsburgh where nothing went right. And that's it.
2015.
Oh, you forgot.
I forgot the time that we went hitless for like 20 straight innings against Atlanta.
Right. Yeah,
and then Atlanta. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
A whole lot of fucking nothing.
But Bengal Dad, I want to say I will never hate the Reds. It's the management who I'm upset at right now.
I'll never hate the Reds.
Oh, trust me, I'm as upset as any of you guys. I always go to Reds games. I'll find a way to go to 2 or 3 a month and this and that. I've been to one game the whole year, and it was Field of Dreams. That's not even going to a Reds game. I went to Iowa for an event.
Yeah.
I will not step foot in that stadium right now. I have opportunity to get free tickets like everybody does.
Right.
I pass. I don't want to support it right now.
No.
I don't have them. I don't have the cable network to watch the Reds. If you guys knew my past, since I've been 8 years old and probably until about 4 or 5 years ago,
right.
I bet you could count on one hand the amount of pitches that I missed over 45 or 50 years. Mm-hmm. I didn't miss a pitch.
We used to get DirecTV with the purpose of 1 Sunday ticket. 2, we would pause every pitch and go frame by frame to see if the batter was going to hit it. We're the only people on the fucking planet that slow baseball down.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what we did every single night. I mean, for Christ's sake, there were times where it's funny. My mother used to get so mad because I would watch games instead of study. And she would say, sports are never going to help you in your life.
Right.
Well, it got me pretty damn far for a while, actually. So, shows you. But at the same time, I mean, we never, ever missed games.
Right.
Ever.
I never did either at one point.
And if I couldn't watch it, I mean, how many times, Dad, were we on vacation somewhere? We couldn't watch the game because the technology wasn't quite there yet. Right. But we'd sit there on GameCast and just, did we get a blue ball? Is it a blue ball? Is it in play? Or is it a green ball? I don't want red balls. Those are strikes. Like, we would just sit there, and that would take 4 hours because it was so slow to update. Yeah. I can remember sitting on subways in New York City trying to just get service in between stops and refreshing.
Absolutely.
I won't even go to a game. I've got cable. I won't watch them. I don't care. I don't care to. They drove me nuts.
Castellini killed me on the Reds opening day when he said that.
Yeah,
absolutely killed me.
Here's the other one.
But what a pompous ass.
Yeah.
So Greg, you met Ashley at the tailgate.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Dad, you know my wife to a degree. It's been
a little bit. HB.
Oh, yeah, HB. Jesus. Cincy, I don't know if you've ever met or talked to my wife, Cincy, but my wife actually really, really likes the Reds. Every year she'll go out and she'll She doesn't like spending big money on jerseys, but she'll get like a T-shirt. She always picks one or two guys a year that she really likes. She used to, ask me, hey, the Reds are in town. Can we go to a game this weekend on a Saturday? Or, she knew that the Thursday games were business day specials and kind of cheaper. And, her dad's a Reds fan out in West Virginia. We'd bring him in, go to a couple games a year. When they traded the players, she was very upset. One, because her boy this year was Winker. So she was – it always turns out the guy she likes gets traded, without – she loved Shin-Soo Choo, gone. Frazier, gone. Winker. It was just every single time. She told me she was very upset, but she's still going to watch him. And then when Castellini said what he said, she's like, yeah, I'm not going this year. I mean, she turned it off immediately, and she actually really likes the Reds. She likes the Reds more than the Bengals, and she refuses to go to the stadium. Quote, Phil ain't getting my money, I think is what she says.
Yeah. I went to 2 games this year, and it was free drinks, and you need free drinks watching the Reds this year. That's the only reason why I went, was free food and free drinks.
You better be drinking a beer an inning.
Like free liquor, free. I mean, this was like, in the Cincinnati Bell area, this guy got me, and I wasn't going to turn down that. The Reds lost the game. He's like, how come you're not upset? I'm like, look, I'm enjoying myself with the free pizza, the burgers. I'm going to enjoy myself. I could care less what's going on with the game. I'm going to enjoy myself with the free food and drinks. I could have cared less if they lost, because that's just how upset I was.
This last 40 minutes has been pretty depressing.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, mercy.
So you're going to try and go Sunday to the theater thing, Greg?
Yeah, I'm going to try to go.
And Cincy James, you just don't care, obviously.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Yeah, you're right. I don't. You guys suck. I really don't even know why I'm on here.
Dale's going to drive 4 hours to watch a Bengal game in a movie theater, and you won't,
4 hours, he says. Hour and a half.
Yeah, Portsmouth, wherever he's coming from.
No, we got soccer on Saturday here in town. Mason's got a game. So
soccer?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The hell is that?
I played soccer for 14 years. Played soccer, baseball, basketball.
14 years.
Tennis. Played golf.
Great.
Yeah.
You might not know this. I was an exceptional basketball player, but soccer is terrible. Dad's even got evidence in that room right now of how pretty my form was on that jump shot.
I was a bowler in high school, and that was it.
Oh God, bowling? Ew.
Bowler, just like Tyler.
I didn't bowl. What are you talking about?
I would have been a bowler in high school if we'd had bowling in high school, but we didn't have bowling back in the day.
Go grab my senior bowling picture. It's right there. Show them what beardless Santori looked like holding a bowling ball.
We're on the bowling team, Santori.
I was starting varsity for Moeller. Yes.
That's awesome, man.
Wasn't it a joke? Isn't that why you went and tried out? Isn't that?
I tried out as a joke. The coach got mad, said you got potential, and I made the team. But then I took it seriously once I was there.
Woo! Nice!
Hold on. Oh, that was 100 pounds ago.
Whoa!
What was your high score?
234.
8.
195, man.
Did you say 8?
Oh, it wasn't 8.
234.
Nice.
190. I never broke 200, man.
I think mine was like 229.
Oh, just rub it in my face, James, with no experience.
Do practice games count?
Practice games don't
bumpers.
count.
277.
So here's the thing. Bengal Dad's an exceptional bowler. He actually really, really, really
I was.
You still go out there like fucking right on the bike.
What's your high score, Bengal?
I don't think I've ever beat you. We used to go. I mean, Sunday mornings we'd bowl 5 games every week. I don't think I beat you but once.
I really don't know what my high score was in league. Probably 235, 240, something like that.
Where did you guys usually bowl at? Was it Madison Bowl or was it Cross?
I bowled most of my life at Coleraine Bowl, the place they just closed.
Oh, okay.
I was at Crossgate almost religiously.
Well, I work at UC Blast right near Crossgate, so yeah.
I was in Fairfield.
There you go.
Fairfield.
The 40 lane house.
Yeah.
I just joined because it was free bowling. I mean, come on.
I went to tryouts as a joke, and I remember coming home and said, I accidentally made the bowling team. And he went, what? And I said, yeah, and it's Moeller, so it's going to be like $500. Sorry.
I say that about getting drunk. I accidentally got drunk today.
What do you got there?
This is my stat page that still exists online.
Nice, man. There you go.
What?
I still have stats in the GCL. The last 7 or 8 games of my career, I caught fire.
Yeah.
And then I had to retire. I had a really bad 166 to end it out, and I got really upset.
Is that you with a 189 average?
Yes.
Wow. That's
I did
impressive.
okay. That was my senior year.
Where's my alma mater, Madeira? They're not on here?
We didn't play them. They didn't want to touch us.
Oh, okay. There you go.
189. That's not bad.
Yeah, so
That's awesome, man.
that's the official. I'll get you a sneak peek of my name up there.
There you go.
There we go. But no, it's
Oh,
man. So this one down here, it was actually these. The 221, 223, 206, 203, and 208 were the most frustrating 5 consecutive games in my life. I literally fought one of my bowling teammates in the pit over that game. So Greg,
200. Why would you?
because I was so obsessed with wanting to have a clean game.
Oh, you didn't get the pin.
All 5 of those games, I missed 1 pin in the 10th frame.
Oh my gosh! But you still got. At least you broke 200.
Well, here's the deal. When you got a clean game at Moeller, they would give you a little bowling pin to put on your keychain.
oh.
And I never had one. And my buddy, his name is Dan Ayler, and I'll pull up his stat line if you want to see some really, really good numbers. There
Didn't he have like 40 of them or something?
Oh yeah, just look at all those 200s.
Well, still, man. I mean, what is your guys' expectation? I mean,
It's
come
Moeller.
Look at
We
his
don't
average.
mess up. Yeah,
Look
look
at
at
his
his average. Yeah.
210.
Wow.
So he had like 50 of them. I ended up getting 1 my entire time at Moeller. In all 5 of those games, I missed the last ball on 5 consecutive games, and they knew it was killing me.
You choke a little?
Oh, I choked hard, man. And this kid named Phil came up behind me. And he was like, "Oh, you missed it again." I grabbed him by his throat and pushed him backward over the ball return, and my coach had to come pull me off of him. And then I called my dad, and I was like, "I'm so fucking pissed off right now." And it was at that Trinity Shamrock shootout at the bottom. And he was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I think I had a 206. I was like, I had a 206. You're like, "Okay, so that's like your 4th 200 game in a row. What's wrong?" I was like, "Missed it again. It's not clean."
Oh my god.
He's like, "Your average is good." I was like, "It's not clean. I want that damn keychain." Oh my god!
We might get canceled here talking so much about high school bowling.
No, we'll be all right.
Man, you had high expectations of that school. Sheesh, man.
It killed me.
It kills me. I never broke 200 in Europe. Seriously.
I was 27th in the city, and I felt really bad that I wasn't higher. And
you went on to try it as a joke.
Mm-hmm. No, I asked Dad. I'd never bowled before.
Greg, we'll go bowling one of these days. I'll get you up to 200.
No, man, it'll put more pressure on me, man. But all right,
I'll get you there.
Seriously, tell him I never bowled before high school.
No.
I showed up to the first game, or the first match, in gym shoes with a house ball. And they were like, you need equipment. And I was like, I don't have any. They're like, do you have the uniform? And I was like, no, I got a t-shirt. And I bowled a 125 with a house ball, just trying to throw it as straight as I could, going down and in.
Right.
And that next week they got us, one of those high test bowling balls. And, from there it was just a matter of putting it in the right spot. I was so inconsistent. My steps going up to the line were always wonky. They used to say I looked like I was drunk trying to do a field sobriety test. You're supposed to take those 4 steps right in front. I was just. My coach used to say it was a miracle I could get it on the lane. It was not good.
It worked for you.
I guess. And Dad'll he'll vouch for this. My junior year, I broke 2 fingers on my bowling hand.
Dang.
Remember that, Dad?
Yeah.
and I broke these two fingers, which are the ones that go in the ball.
Right.
I broke them right here, right in the first bottom knuckle, and I tore a ligament here. So if you don't release the ball the right way, your hand gets stuck in it. It was a 16-pound ball, and my hand turned over, and the ball just snapped it.
Oh, dude!
And I didn't want to get benched from the bowling team due to injury because I thought that was about as sucky as it got.
You don't want to start. You don't want to release the ball and have your thumb down here.
So did you like curve it? Did you have that like a little spin thing and all that? Like, did you like have it like how did you bowl? Like, did you
this is where Greg's gonna get mad because I know he asked that question, so he probably doesn't know this. How new is your bowling ball that you have?
I haven't bowled in quite some time. It was when I got it was brand new.
What year was that? Do you know?
2005.
Okay.
Or 4 or 5, I don't know.
So the balls that they make now have a giant weight on the inside that's off center, and regardless how you throw it, it drives back toward the middle of the lane. It's like cheating.
Wow.
His dad's got what you got do you have a hammer or an angle?
An angle. My ball's about 35 years old.
So I got my ball in 2013, my nicer one. I have a Marvel. Doesn't matter how you throw it. It drives right back toward the middle. You can throw it back up ball and it'll still straighten itself out. It's like everybody's got those. They're like $200 for a nice ball anymore. It's like cheating. They've just got a shifted weight that's kind of catty cornered. It's off center from the ball and diagonal. So regardless of what you do, it's going to go the right direction.
Right.
But as long as we always used to say, wipe the baby's butt. As long as you came up from right behind the ball, you were going to be in good shape. Yeah. So it was a lot easier when I was bowling as opposed to using an old school bowling ball.
Right. Did you ever nail 7-10 split?
No, I hit some wicked splits though. I never got the 7-10.
I hit a few splits, but other than that, not a 7-10. But
I got a 1-2-4-10. I got a 6-7-10, and I got a 4-7-10.
Gotcha.
I never got the 7-10.
Gotcha.
You only see the 7-10 made on TV.
Yeah.
On YouTube.
No, Ayler, that kid hit one during a game. I'll never forget it.
Did he?
He was like, "I'm just going to retire now." I was like, "Yeah, you're not going to do much more." But no, I went to tryouts as a joke. Oh, so when I hurt my fingers, Dad, do you remember how I used to bowl because I broke them? What I used to do?
I don't remember.
Well, I loaded my body with ibuprofen 1, but I would in between throws, I had a little styrofoam cup that I would get up from the stand, and I filled it with ice, and I just held my hand like this in a cup full of ice with my 2 fingers in it. And my coach always asked what I was doing. I was like, "Oh, it's just better grip. It helps me. It's tackier." And he was like, "Okay." And then when it was getting ready to be my turn, I would take my hand out of the ice, wrap it in that nasty green oil-stained bowling towel I used to have, and then I would, because the seats were low to the ground, I could put my hand on the ground and step on my fingers with the back of the heel to keep the blood out of it. And then I would walk up to the ball return with my hand in the air like this, and I would go as fast as I could to avoid the blood getting back in my fingers because I didn't want to feel it. And Dad'll remember after those matches, my fingers were black and swelled up. I just didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to be benched from the bowling team.
Did you ever cause a dent in your bowling ball ever? And it happened to a couple of people I knew.
Oh, I got chips in my ball all the time.
Yeah.
My ball, I still don't know how it happened. I'm going to blame my stepsister. But I went downstairs to go get it was the starter ball I ever had. It was a Storm. And it was a light oil ball, meaning it wasn't made to move much. It was kind of a starter ball. But I went downstairs to go get it one day, and it was cracked right in half, straight down the middle. And I was like, how? How did the bowling ball crack in half down the middle? And it was in a different room, and I knew she was down there with her friends the previous night. So I'm going to blame her.
That's how you make the 7-10.
Yeah, the ball's going
to right.
Fucking Looney Tunes.
Yeah. Some guys I knew that bowled, they would get like a little 8-pound paintball, like, that was made for some girl.
Oh, and they just rocket it.
Chuck it across. So, James, you obviously probably had no bowling equipment. How did you bowl? Did you just like pick some lightweight ball, or how did you get your 200? Because I'm sure it's going to kill me because you never bowled.
I had bowling shoes and I had a bowling ball.
Oh, okay.
But I was straight back, straight forward.
That's it.
I never tried to spin it or anything. Always tried to go as straight as possible. That's how I got my 229 or whatever it was.
It's not fair.
Not fair.
So our coach was very much into analytics before analytics were a huge thing, especially with bowling.
Oh, wow.
And he used to get them to like turn the lights off, and he would get like this high glowing, almost like a ring light before those were a thing. Right. And he would shine it on the lane and show us where the oil was and how the oil would move over the course of a match. So, hey, the dry spots are down there. If you're going to change a ball, make sure you change it to something that's a little bit longer. So when it hits that dry spot, it's going to cut sharper. But if it cuts too sharp, you're going to hit the head pin too high of an angle. You're going to leave your 5, and you're just like, oh my God, dude, like just let me throw the bowling ball. He made us keep diet logs, like
I remember
what we ate. We did so much form and technique stuff. I mean, it was difficult at practice.
Yeah,
I mean, he took it very, very, very seriously.
Seriously, wow.
It was intense, and the thing was, St. X and Elder, I mean, they were always really, really good, and LaSalle was really good, and I mean, I think that year we went 8-4 and finished in last place.
Dang.
And then we got to districts that year, which is like the Final Four, and that's when we lost. But I mean, we were really good and in last place.
Dang.
So St. X had, I think, 3 kids averaging 200. We had 2. I mean, at 189, I was a fringe starter. I was the number 5 out of 5.
Wow.
I mean, there was a long time where he wouldn't play me. I called him one night and said, I quit. I'm done. You guys aren't playing me. It's a lot of time and a lot of effort for, I used the excuse that my grades were tanking, like they weren't always. But I was like, I quit. And then he called Dad, and Dad's like, well, if he's going to quit, he's going to quit. And then, he's like, well, we'll play you more. And I was like, okay, whatever. But the thing that aggravated me was he would pull guys in the middle of a game and substitute guys. Like if you had 2 open frames, so you missed 2 spares, he would pull you. And he would substitute a guy in. And I was always the first guy off the bench to come in and clean up all the shit. And I would take somebody who had, a 52 in the 4th frame, and I'd end up with a 170 or something good. And then he would bench me and put the other kid back in. And I was like, dude, what the hell? I was like, I'd literally just cleaned this up and just had 7 clean frames in a row, and you're going to take me out again. And I've lost my mind. There was a tournament. We came in first place, and he gave me a trophy. It was a 10-hour tournament. I was the only one to not throw a ball. And I took the trophy and threw it in the trash can and walked out. Dang. I was like, I didn't deserve this. I didn't do anything for it. I don't know why you guys gave me this. I was so pissed off. Right. And I quit right after that. It was the worst thing I think I've ever done sports-wise, because I don't believe in quitting. But it got his attention, and then he started me for the rest of the year, and you saw what happened. The numbers were good. But I'm still embarrassed I did that. But it's the only way I was going to play.
You got to do what you got to do, man.
Boys, I need to get off of here.
Yeah,
it's late.
Yeah, it's getting late.
This is what happens when you want to start a show at 8.
Yeah.
Dad. I was sitting there at 5:30 like I'm ready to rock and roll, and you're like, what about 8? All right. I'm going to blame you.
Yeah. Blame me.
Yeah, shoot.
Also, we're really quick. Well, I'll say this after we're done. So when I end the broadcast, just stick around for like 2 more minutes. But does anybody have anything they want to promote? No? Okay.
We better say Birminghorn.
Yeah. All of that was brought to you by Birminghorn.
Wrong way. I'm so bad at this.
There it is.
It's there. There it is. I keep it there just for that.
Yeah, and I haven't really promoted the charity thing too much this month. So if anybody wants to donate something and they want to get in the running for all of that stuff, just send me the receipt. Let me know. I'm sure I'll go full bore again on October 1st. I could try it now, but I'm one of those people that I'm like, you know what, just can it till the 1st of next month for whatever reason that makes me feel better. But, thank you for everybody who tunes in. It was a fun 2-hour show tonight.
Long one. Have fun editing this one.
Yeah.
We won't have to. This was pretty good. Nothing. Uh-oh.
What? Oh, stop.
We're 0-2.
So I did have a beard not in the 8th grade. It started coming in sophomore year of high school. At Moeller, we weren't allowed to have facial hair.
Right.
So they would send me to the bathroom with one of those like Bic single blade plastic disposable razors and a can of just like spray face shaving cream, and I would come back to class just bloodied everywhere, and they'd get so mad at me, and I'm like, well, do you want me to have a beard or do you want me to bleed all over your classroom? Take your pick, because this isn't working. But Crypt wants a song.
I'm out of songs. I am all out of songs.
You are not. You have a very eclectic music taste.
Yeah.
There's a million songs out there.
Oh, no. So the songs that the artists, we're going to shed some light on who is Bengal Dad.
Make it quick light.
Al Jarreau.
Al Jarreau. Absolutely Al Jarreau.
I'm going to out you here. Barry Manilow, up there on your list.
I'm a fan of Low.
Mm-hmm. Sinatra, Dean Martin, a lot of classier stuff like that.
Not so much Dean Martin.
Well, you laugh every time "Ain't That a Kick in the Head" comes on, because that's just one of those old timey sayings. But
Michael Bublé.
Yeah, Bublé.
I like the standards.
Yeah, a lot of older stuff.
I'll come up with something for the next show. I'll prepare myself.
I can dig it.
What's something current you like?
Something current?
Yeah, not like Bublé. Like it's something.
Andrea Bocelli.
Yeah.
I don't know of anything current.
He's still current, right?
That I would turn on.
No.
Because if I think it's current, it's still 10 years old.
Yeah, you're going to be like Green Day.
Green Day, Pitbull, no.
Pitbull, oh my God, yes.
That's way back. See, that's still way back.
Pitbull's not super way back. He still puts some stuff out every once in a while.
You know, Black Eyed Peas. They still show up on every sporting event, even though it's forever.
The touchdown song will work just fine. Well, he only scored one of those, so I don't know if
I did. Oh, he doesn't want the Bengal growl. He wants the touchdown song.
We better start.
Cincinnati. We got a team right here in town. They can never let us down. Who they? Who they
think gonna beat them Bengals?
There we go. I'm not going to end with a
nobody.
I can't say nobody right now.
Yeah. Well, there's like two teams, but whatever.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for everybody. It was wonderful having you. We'll try to not keep it at 2 hours next time.
When is next time? It's supposed to be tomorrow, but tomorrow ain't happening.
You don't want a 2-hour show tomorrow?
No.
Well, then we better start going through the games for next week now. You better buckle up for another hour, buddy.
I think we'll skip the Thursday game. Maybe do this Friday night or something.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I do have somebody that said they might want to come on Friday. So if that's the case, we can make a Friday show happen. I think we're going to do a little film breakdown. Friday.
Yeah,
little film breakdown. We'll get you a little education.
Little education.
All right.
Yeah, I want to know how my picks did. I want to know how bad I did.
Go watch the YouTube. It's on there.
That's horrible.
As the guest.
That's lazy.
The guest, he said, "Hey, guest, go do your work."
Right.
Yeah. Are you really a guest, or are you just kind of like?
I don't know.
I don't even know what. Like you're here all the time.
I'm whatever you want me to be, Santori.
I just come. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
The great thing is, I've got both of them. Oh God. I've both of them in a group chat where I just go 8:30 and they go, "You got it," and I get a bunch of thumbs up, quick as a cat. All right. Well, it was great to see everybody. Great to talk to everybody. We'll probably be on here Friday. We'll try to keep it a little bit more timely.
Yeah. Let's.
My wife came in and looked at me, so it's
the offensive line's getting a little loose here. We need to tighten it up.
All right. Well, thank you for everybody joining, and then Greg, Cincy, I did. Once we're off of here, just 2 seconds of your time, if you could, that'd be great. And thank you, everyone. Good night, and hydrate for tomorrow.
See ya.
Health advice. Yeah.